Luton Town have their first loss of the season. And look, it has to come at some point. There's been a lot of meltdown online. I understand that. And it's all right if the disappointment is at the performance, but calling for Bloomfield to be sacked by December or by September, I can't remember what it was, that's just a tad extreme, shall we say. The reality of the situation is it was not a very good performance. I can take losses, providing the team had performed well during that loss. And for Luton Town, I can think of maybe one game in the past. Well, we performed well with losses during the Premier League. Okay, from the last season, from the Championship season, we were expected to get relegated from the Premier League. During the entirety of the Championship season, I can think of one game where we lost and we actually deserved something out of that game, and that would be the Sunderland game. From this game today, Luton Town deserved the sum of, don't know if I can get bleeped here, the sum of absolutely nothing. I was going to say something a bit naughty there, but I choose my words carefully. Bradford had our number from the get-go because they wanted it more. They won the second balls. And that is what frustrates me the most. Why don't our players want it? They don't. And you see that from the way they play. Right, back to the beginning. So we lined up Keeley in goal. There were 3 changes. It was a back 3 of Naismith, Anderson, McGuinness. Now that is a really slow back 3. I hate the back 3. Bloomfield had the entirety of pre-season to change it. The chance to bring in some fresh blood, a left back, a right back. We sort of knew Doughty was going. It was fairly obvious. Doughty was one of our standout players in the Premier League. When he was fit, he was probably our standout player in the Championship. Why didn't we replace him sooner? Why didn't we... Cohen Bramall's been out of contract the entirety of the summer. If he was indeed a target, bring him in early. Bloomfield keeps saying he's only 2 weeks into pre-season. Get him up to speed a bit earlier. Right, well, that brings me on to our sort of midfield 5, because it's always a 3-5-2, isn't it? Well, it wasn't a 3-5-2. It was a 3-4-3. So midfield 4, so we had on the left wing-back position, Longwick, the right-footed centre-back. In midfield 2, it was Saville and Baptiste. And then we had Milanic Ali playing right wing-back, where he only featured for 20 minutes. And then we had a front 3 of Fanny, Yates, and Clark. So that's 4 central midfielders playing. It doesn't really give you a lot of width. There was no width today. There was nothing. But in all fairness, we weren't really able to zip it around. And there was really very little penetration until Kajua came on. I thought Kajua did absolutely well. He took his goal incredibly well. Right, so that was the lineup. Playing in front of 20,000 fans always has a bit of a problem because the ref can be influenced. Millie Ali, he picked up a booking and then he went straight into another Bradford player. And Bloomfield did the right thing in taking him off. However, what Bloomfield did wrong was start Millie Ali at right wing back. He did really well at left wing back. And Nigel Longwick did really well against Portsmouth. Peterborough. My mind is still in the Championship. He did really well against Peterborough when he came on at right wing back. He's not a wing back, but defensively he is sound. So what do? We swap them around. It has sort of shades of when Rob Edwards against Sheffield United decided to play Jordan Clark as a false 9, Alfie Doughty as a right, as a right midfielder, and Reece Burke just bombing up, when his hamstrings are made out of string cheese. Some of the decisions just boggle my mind. And you have Yates up top, and Yates is a very serviceable striker at this level, but we cannot service him. For the first half, we were struggling to get balls in. We were unable to whip any balls in. And when we did whip a ball in, Yates was just that bit, too far away from it. And do you know how you can resolve that? You play two up top. So it took a long time, right until pretty much the final 10 minutes, until we went two up top. Nordas came on with 20 minutes to go, I believe. And then we started to look like a coherent football team. Bradford carried threat. And the goals, I would say, no disrespect to Bradford, Graham Alexander has done an absolutely tremendous job. Bear in mind, they finished third in the League Two last season. They've come up, they've absolutely schooled us. And a lot of people in our live stream, myself and Ryan were discussing it, and people in the comments were saying, this could be our first potential test. And, hey, I'm happy to say when I'm wrong. I was incredibly wrong. I sort of assumed this would be slightly harder than Wimbledon. But in all fairness, Luton Town have not really clicked this season. The biggest issue of why we haven't clicked is because we are sort of maintaining this playing out to the wings mentality. What's wrong with the middle of the park? At Kenilworth Road, we're going to wear out the wings. That is the problem. We have technical footballers. Saville, he can play football. Baptiste, he can play football. Why do we persist to, play it out to the wings? Like, the only reason, in the middle third and the back, in our third, the only thing we do is play it between the defenders to sort of find a way to get it out to the wingers. That is what's really frustrating. Where are the through balls? Where's, if we were playing Clark just that little bit deeper, he can slip a ball through. Something for, maybe Yates on the last shoulder of the last defender to, sort of, chase after, get after. But going back to Bradford, no disrespect. Ponton, terrific player. Humphreys, good finish. I mean, it was really close, but you know what? He took advantage of an error. Ball went in. I'll talk about that error. Oh, God. McGuinness is obviously not up to speed. And that is fair. That is understandable. He's been out for a while. He was ill. He lost a lot of weight. But if he's not up to speed, he's not match fit, just change the shape. Could have very easily gone with sort of a back four. Play Naismith there. Play Longwick there. Play Anderson there. And then we have quite a few other defenders. Play another defender there. Well, you can play McGuinness in the back four. But essentially it means you have a midfield in front of them. You don't have those gaps. And Bradford exploited the gaps that opened up. And then, it's just... I feel with our team, we play with an arrogance. We don't move the ball fast enough. We feel like contesting second balls is beneath us. That is the feeling I get. And in the midfield, people barely break into a sprint. There's no desire. There's no fight. And that is completely reminiscent of what we saw last season. All season, no fight, no desire, all ego. It's misplaced ego. People think, the players think, oh yeah, we're going to go straight back up. Look how good our squad is. It's not that simple. You have to put the effort in. You have to fight for every ball. You have to sweat spinal fluid, to quote Malcolm Tucker. You have to absolutely go to town in games. And it's frustrating. And I said after the Wimbledon game, I will give it a month. I was hoping by now we would sort of see a semblance of how we would be playing, an identity, if you will. And there's zero identity right now. All I'm seeing is, to be fair, we are defensively a bit more solid. I know that we conceded twice today, but we are better defensively. We are not making the same errors and the magnitude of errors that we were making last season. I suppose we just have to have a little bit more patience. To be fair, I think there is no danger of us getting relegated this season, although I don't think playoffs are a foregone conclusion. There is still work to be done within the team by Matt Bloomfield, and we need to show that we can actually service our strikers in the final third. I said it many, many weeks ago on Discord. We'll start badly, although I thought we'd start much worse than this. Just saying. Two wins out of 3, not bad, not bad. The performances have left a lot to be desired, but ultimately, wins are wins, even if you're averaging a shot on target every 60 minutes. That's worrying. But I said we would struggle. We would struggle, and then because the window's still open until September 1st, we will panic, and then we will spend some money. But right now, we spent 7 figures, reportedly, on Jerry Yates. We could have Erling Haaland, and we wouldn't service him. We wouldn't score any goals. It's that concerning. But the defensive third and the middle third, I think we're all right. It's about that final ball. We need to find other ways of getting the ball into the box, other ways to attack, other than just whipping balls in. Or at the very least, play 2 up top. Because when those balls get whipped in, if Jerry Yates isn't there, you can bet that Nordas, or if we get another striker, who else is there really? We need to do some business. That's really what we need to do. But hey, we go on to the next one, and hopefully we see a bit more of a semblance of a performance. Because if we keep going on like this, the challenges are only going to get harder. I don't want to say there are only a couple of easy games. There are no easy games, because the other team either sit in a low block and you got to break them down, and we can't break them down, or they come at you and you essentially can't score against them either. You're in a stalemate. You can't keep getting sweaty, lucky wins. You can't rely on set piece goals like at Peterborough and defensive mistakes like we had against Peterborough and again at Wimbledon. You can't keep relying on those. You've got to create your own opportunities. Anyway, Kajua took his chance today really well. It was a lovely ball from Bramall. I said it after the Cov game. Bramall looks like he can whip in a ball. We need to get him up to speed as quickly as possible, because right now he is the only player capable of playing left wing back. It's that concerning. There is still work to be done. Everyone, have a great evening. Have a great weekend. And most importantly, remember to tune in to our fan phone-in tomorrow, Sunday night, 9 p.m. Myself and Ryman, we're going to be taking your calls. We want to hear from all of you. But that wasn't the most importantly. But most importantly, come on, you Hatters.